launched in June of 1998, so obviously compared to what Dave just talked about with Kelly, very different, much younger culture, much younger company. We're just getting established really into what we would consider our teenage years right now. And very quickly, just to understand, we're privately held by Classified Ventures, which was really a couple of newspapers that came together in the late 90s. And the story goes that they were publishers from these newspapers who went to a conference where Bill Gates walked in and said, I'm going to take over your classified business with the internet and with the Microsoft network. So they all came together and said, let's create national websites where people can list local classifieds. And so you have cars.com, you have apartments.com, and then some real estate space as well. So that's where we came from. Very quickly, over 1,000 employees. We are headquartered here in Chicago. Over 700 of those folks are here in Chicago. The rest are out in the field selling our product. 21 million monthly visitors to our site, and we have over 3 million cars on our site. So one of the questions I always get asked, and I asked it myself when I joined the company about a year ago, is how does Cars.com make money? The answer is 85% of our revenue comes from dealers who contract with us to list all their inventory on our site. So our biggest customer group are car dealers around the country. So, fast forward a little bit, last spring, we were looking to implement Chatter, and one of the challenges we had, we were trying to get our senior leadership team on board with rolling out Chatter. We had tried collaboration tools in the past, and quite frankly, they were not successful. There were at least 4 in the last 7 or 8 years. I'm looking at Lori back there, who's been here a lot longer than I am. And the challenge that we always had was some were very good at sharing information, blogging, type systems, or systems that were very good at keeping track of information, storing files, but didn't really give people the chance to share their thoughts. And because we couldn't find a comprehensive solution, all the other ones that we tried to implement, we just always had low engagement. And one of our goals was that we wanted high engagement, not only from our managers, our leaders, but also from our individual contributors around the company. We really pride ourselves on having highly engaged employees, and we wanted to give them a way that they could communicate more easily amongst themselves and with the rest of the leadership team. So there was a small group of folks who pushed to implement Chatter, most of which are in this room today. And there were a couple of reasons why we wanted to use Chatter. One, we had over 700 employees who were already on Salesforce. That was a huge advantage for us. We knew if we rolled out another system where they'd have to go to a different address, log in, they just weren't going to be as frequent to use it. The second piece, it was much more interactive than the other systems that we've used. Andy did a great demo. Dave had a couple of usage examples, and I have some as well. But the reality is, it's allowing everyone to interact with one another. Our past systems, the reality is, unless you were a manager or above, you probably didn't have the rights to post information or post it to the right people to be able to get a response. It was user-friendly, obviously, it's integrated in Salesforce, I already talked about that, but I think Andy made a great point. If you have people who use Facebook and Twitter, and let's be honest, most of our employees do now, it's a very simple system to just plug and play. And then also transparency. Like I said, we enjoy having very highly engaged employees, and we want them to be able to see the conversations that are going on. We want them to be able to see what our product teams are working on. There's always a lot that's transpiring, and we want to be as open as possible about what we're doing. So, despite some, what I would consider to be very significant reservations, we did go live in July of last year with Chatter, and the reality is it was a soft launch. So, let me kind of explain. I don't know that we ever really had our entire senior leadership team on board with the idea of doing Chatter. We just turned it on. Literally. That's how it worked. Now, we did have some folks throughout the organization, not at the senior level, but directors, managers who were kind of planted to start using Chatter. They were the experts in those groups. And we turned it on. And you came in on a Monday, and there were all these posters around the building about Chatter. Nobody really knew what it was. And then we started getting these emails that at first were a little creepy because they said somebody's following you, and why is somebody following me? But we rolled it out. We provided no guidelines, no training, no restrictions, and that was not very popular because one of the arguments against Chatter was, well, it's social, it's going to cost us productivity, people are going to use it to communicate about what they're doing tonight after work, not for actual work purposes, or people just aren't getting engaged with it because we're not doing a whole lot of publicity around it, so we won't have a lot of folks who are using it.